Get the theme around here if you've been watching or listening for a while. Drone warfare is our new normal. It's not just the future, it's here. And here's the latest example. An Iranian drone took down a US Apache helicopter. Welcome to Independent Americans. Welcome to episode 545. I am, of course, your host, Paul Rieckhoff. Welcome. It is Tuesday, June 9th, which means, because it's Tuesday, it is primary day. Much more on that coming up, including how hundreds of thousands of independents are again blocked from voting. But I'm coming to you from New York City, USA, where the weather here is very, very nice, but the mood is a little somber. Yes, the Knicks lost last night at Madison Square Garden. Trump was there to fuck it all up, and we'll have much more on that coming up. But the mood in the city, despite the beautiful weather, is a little somber, but we're ready to bounce back up and to lift ourselves and our team up. So let's lift it up with today's artist of the day, Pink. She is a legend. She is an icon. And I picked her especially now because she absolutely rocked it at the Tonys this weekend. If you didn't see it, go check out the clips. She had this fantastic interpretation, collaboration of Lady Marmalade. And after that, I think she's already been an icon. Maybe she can run for president, or since she's recently moved to New York and Kathy Hochul is so unpopular, maybe she can run for governor of New York. But if you don't know, she sold over 135 million records worldwide, one of the best-selling artists of all time. She has been the iHeartRadio Music Icon Award, Woman of the Year for Billboard, 100 Greatest Women in Music, and she has been nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So many classics. Get the Party Started, Just Like a Pill, Trouble, and Dear Mr. President, of course, featuring the Indigo Girls, and Sober. And today is a sobering day across America because it is primary day, because of the political spectacle that was the NBA Finals last night, and because of the latest out of Iran. So I'm going to try to bring you the five eyes I bring you in every single show to drive you through this Tuesday: independence, integrity, information, inspiration, and impact. No guest, just me and you on this primary Tuesday. Let's get into it, let's get after it, and let's stay vigilant. All right. Yeah, it's kind of a bummer of a morning in perspective, of course, because the Knicks had a tough one. And it was just so steeped in politics and apprehension and concern, and just there's so much politics over it. And here's the top story. Trump is a jinx. Trump is a jinx. Stephen A. Smith told him to stay away. He didn't stay away. He came. The Knicks lost. Maybe the Knicks will never lose another game. And if you only want a reason to root for the Knicks in every single game going forward, it's to prove that Trump is a jinx. Everything he touches suffers. Everything he touches gets worse. And the Knicks are the latest example. Now, before the game last night, the energy in this city was just absolutely electric, like we've never seen before. I talked about it yesterday. I think that Fat Joe was right when he said we haven't seen this city and this area united in the way they are now since 9/11. And the best way to get ready for a Knicks game in New York City was to have basketball practice. And my boys had basketball practice. All these youngsters, men and women, in the gym, mostly 6, 7, 8, 9-year-olds, some 10-year-olds, lots of blue and orange, and lots of excitement. And the vibes in this city, and especially in the gyms and courts across it, were truly electric. And especially in our Steady Buckets gym. And those kids in the gym, loving the game, loving the friendship. That's what the truth looks like. Because basketball in New York City and in the US is a culture. It's a lifestyle. It's an institution. And it's a community like none other. The kids in this city live and grow up in it. And they have been especially amped to get behind the Knicks. And that is energizing. That is contagious. That is inspiring. And it can help us all stay vigilant. But the Knicks lost. It was a tough one. The Spurs won 115-111. Wembanyama answered the call with 32 points, 8 rebounds. Brunson got into some foul trouble. Cat, unfortunately, didn't play like he did in the past. But it's a reminder that the Spurs are a very, very good team. Wemby and Castle are spectacular, but so are the Knicks. We knew it wouldn't be easy, and we believe, and in less than 24 hours or so, we will be back and the journey continues. But Trump is definitely a jinx, and I blame Trump. And I didn't know at the time how loud the boos were inside of MSG because I was out at a community viewing in Stuytown in the Oval. If you don't know, Stuytown is one of the biggest housing developments in American history. It was built for World War II veterans when they came home from that conflict. But it's a huge area of tall buildings. We were in the middle in the Oval. And when Trump came on the screen, the boos were loud and sounded nearly unanimous. And it looks like the same was true inside of Madison Square Garden. Play the clip, please, Chris. Now, here's the important part. That happened. We all saw it. We know that it's true. But Trump won't tell the truth about it. Like he does on everything else. He wants to attack the truth. He wants to manipulate the truth. He wants to twist the truth. Play this clip, please, Chris.
Mark, did you see Mayor Mamdani at the game?
I did not, no.
What did you think of the reception you got from the Knicks fans?
I thought it great. I mean, I thought it was amazing, actually. You mean when they had the camera on me? I thought it was very good, yeah.
Could you?
It was certainly amazing. It was. I think, mostly cheers. It was loud and it was very enthusiastic.
So he can't even be honest about being booed. Maybe he didn't think he was going to get booed, but credit to New York, credit to free speech, credit to basketball fans for speaking out. Now, they tried to do what I warned you they might do. They kind of showed him during the national anthem when he was saluting, and sometimes folks will respect the national anthem, but I understand their need to boo. I needed to boo because we can't trust him to tell the truth on whether or not he was booed or about the war in Iran. As he was leaving the tarmac and fly out of New York City after totally screwing up traffic and security across the city, just a couple blocks from here, he also couldn't be truthful about the war. Play that clip, please, Chris.
We have ongoing negotiations in Iran and with Iran, and that hasn't stopped. And we could have at least an idea by 1 or 2 days from now, but I think it's going well. The blockade continues to hold 100%. Nothing is getting through our blockade. No oil, no income, no nothing. Nothing's getting through the blockade.
So he thinks it's going well. Now, keep in mind, when it comes to the footage of what happened inside of MSG, I think they'll splice it. They'll probably overlay some Kid Rock music and make it look like the crowd was actually cheering for him, because that's what he's done in other cases. And millions will assume it's real, just like they do with much of his propaganda, to include those comments on Iran, which will continue. This meshing of sports and politics and manipulation and propaganda will continue. Because as a reminder, there will be a giant UFC spectacle at the White House this weekend. The claw has now been lit up. You can see photos of it online. It looks kind of like a child's playpen around the White House. Blue and red lights ahead of the huge UFC event this weekend. And so as if Trump crashing MSG wasn't bad enough, a reminder that that madness is still happening this weekend. And the Stanley Cup Finals are probably next, especially since he won't get overwhelmingly booed in Vegas or Carolina. But no space in our sports or culture is safe from Trump and his radioactive political incursions. This is our new normal, and we can't let it divert us. We can't let it distract us. We need to continue to push forward, find those moments of unity, even in the toughest of times, even when the politics seem to contaminate and exhaust everything. It's another reason to stay vigilant. Independent Americans, as you know, the primaries are taking shape. 2026 is unfolding. This show is at the middle of it. I'm helping you stay ahead of it. And you can trade on the biggest political races happening all across America on Kalshi. On Kalshi, you can trade major primaries, election outcomes, and the biggest political storylines as they happen. You can trade on pretty much everything you hear about in this show. In its primary season this week, we have Maine, Nevada, South Carolina, North Dakota. On June 23rd, we will have the New York primary, and this will be in the richest district in America. This is the one that has Jack Schlossberg, Mika Lasher, George Conway, the former Republican. So you can bet on these things. You can bet on these primary races. Will Jack Schlossberg, the heir to the Kennedy legacy, win the New York 12 primary race? Or will George Conway? Right now, Conway is trading at 1%, meaning a $100 trade would pay out $2,950.10 if he wins his election. There's a lot of other really important, timely, and cool political stuff you can bet on. The Senate elections are obviously a very big deal. And there is a question of who will win, not just in Maine, but also in Texas. Will Tallarico beat Ken Paxton in Texas? Right now, Tallarico is currently trading at 42%, meaning a $100 trade would pay out $228.78 if he wins that election. The Texas Senate race is one of many that you can focus on. We've talked about whether Pete Hegseth will last as Secretary of Defense. Will the Strait of Hormuz stay open? You can wager on that one. And then there's also a big one that I may come back to from time to time. Right now, you can bet on who will be the 2028 Democratic and Republican presidential nominee. Right now, Gavin Newsom is leading at 21%. You can wager on an AOC, John Ossoff, Kamala Harris, Rahm Emanuel, Josh Shapiro. You can go down to Mark Kelly or Ro Khanna, or our friend Wes Moore, who's been on this show before. Wes Moore is trading at 2.6%, which means if you bet $100 now on Wes Moore and he wins, you will win $3,638. That's the max payout on November 7th. You can also put money on James Tallarico or Alyssa Slotkin or Mark Cuban or Jon Stewart. You can place your bets now at Kalshi. And we talked about some other things that you can wager on. You can talk about whether or not Trump will attend another finals game. There was a 60% chance last week that Trump would attend an NBA finals game. If you put down $100, you paid out $159.57. And let's bring a new one to you, what I think is a fun one. It's related to technology and science, but also to politics. Will the U.S. confirm that aliens exist? This is definitely a topic of conversation in the White House. It comes up in the news from time to time. Trump loves to talk about it. Will the U.S. confirm that aliens exist before 2027? If you vote yes, it's trading at 13.9%, which means if you wager $100, you will pay out $675.08. This is all the stuff that you can focus on Kalshi, where politics is available for your focus every single day. On Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use the code INDEPENDENT to get $10 when you trade 10. That is independent, Kalshi, Kalshi, where you can trade on anything, including politics and all the latest from our news headlines. It is fun. And if you watch or listen to this show, you will stay ahead of the curve. 18 and over only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Even contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see Kalshi.com/regulatory. Independent Americans, you can get in on the action right now at Kalshi. All right, but Trump is a jinx. He's a jinx, including on Iran, because there's more bad news out of that place that he says is not a war, and they keep talking about a ceasefire. But now there's news that a U.S. helicopter has been shot down. Iran shot down an Army Apache helicopter off the coast of Oman. Now Trump is saying that he must, of necessity, respond to this attack. The two pilots, thankfully, were rescued. More on that in a second. But the helicopter was brought down by an Iranian drone. Get the theme around here if you've been watching or listening for a while. Drone warfare is our new normal. It's not just the future, it's here. And here's the latest example. An Iranian drone took down a U.S. Apache helicopter. There have also been fresh strikes on Lebanon from Israel. and it doesn't look like there's much peace. The allies have some differences to work out. Israel's ambassador told the U.S. Told the U.S. told CNN, and Trump has warned Prime Minister Netanyahu that further strikes on Iran could isolate him. But here's the bottom line. There is no peace in Iran. The war continues. And if you don't think so, ask the two pilots of that Apache who got shot down. Now, the U.S. has used Apaches as well as MQ-9 Reaper drones and FA-18s and F-35s as a part of the entire military operation to try to open up the Strait of Hormuz and hit back on Iran. But Iran has now shot down about 30 unmanned Reaper drones, a handful of U.S. fighter jets, and now this Apache is the latest one lost. Now, it just underscores that we are very, very far away from peace. If you don't know, an AH-64 Apache gunship has Hellfire missiles. It's one of the most intimidating aircrafts operating in the region. They patrol the strategic waterway to try to attack small boats or other things that could disrupt the strait. But this is not a small deal. And what happened afterward is also not a small deal and something that might be below your radar. So, you know how they were saved? The pilots were saved by a drone. They were shot down by a drone, and then they were saved by an American drone. Now, if you listen to the show, if you watch this show, I've been telling you about drones. And CBS News is reporting that the two crew members were rescued by a sea drone in the first such operation ever carried out by the U.S. military. The surface drone rescued the soldiers and transported them to another spot in the water where they were hoisted up into a helicopter for further transport. Eleanor Watson says the surface drone that assisted in last night's rescue was a U.S. Navy Corsair unmanned surface vessel operated by U.S. Fifth Fleet Task Force 59. The task force has been fielding these drones in theater in late March. And this is not the last we will hear about these drones, but the innovation, the pace of innovation continues, especially as we follow the lead of what's happening in Ukraine. More on that in a second. So let's keep talking about drones. But drones are the new normal. Drones are not the future of warfare. They are the current state of affairs. And in Ukraine, drones continue to be at the forefront. And the war in Ukraine is thankfully something that Trump can't jinx. And today is day 1564 of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. And there is reason to focus again on drones because Ukrainian drones are chewing up Russians. And now they put the total number of Russian casualties at over 100,000 just in the last 12 months, taken out by droned and unmanned assets. Check out this report from our friend Preston Stewart, who joined us on this show last month. Play the clip, please, Chris.
So Ukraine has now visually confirmed more than 100,000 Russian soldiers killed or seriously wounded by their unmanned systems forces or drone units over the last 12 months. And when I say verified, like they have the battle damage assessments on video. So they were recording these drone strikes. It's not a guess of we think we killed that guy, we think he might have been wounded. They're verifying it with footage. 100,000 in the last 12 months, which is wild. What's even crazier is that Ukraine is on track to triple that number over the next year. And if that comes to fruition, like it's hard to see Russia continuing, right? I mean, they do have a lot of manpower. We know that, and they're willing to throw it away. But 300,000 plus losses a year, killed and seriously wounded, is a tough pill to swallow for any country. And that's where Russia is right now.
Go back and check out my episode with Preston Stewart. Check out Preston Stewart on YouTube. He's a great independent media voice and a veteran who's breaking it down. But I will remind you that drones are the new normal. Drones are warfare. Drones are everywhere. And they will always be a part of this show. We will keep focused on it, and you should stay vigilant. All right, let's talk about politics. Trump is trying to jinx elections, too, or just attack them. And now there is clarity around the L.A. mayor's race. The Democrat has secured the second spot in the L.A. mayor's race, and that ends upstart populist Spencer Pratt's run. Nithya Raman, a progressive Democrat who entered the mayoral race at the last minute, got the number 2 spot, and she will face off against pretty unpopular Mayor Karen Bass in November. This is going to be a big inter-party battle. Some are calling Rahman the Mamdani of California, but you've got the establishment person in Karen Bass, the upstart in Rahman, and the battle will continue. And Trump has something to say about it. Trump is previewing what he's going to do in the fall by throwing out some baseless claims of voter fraud in California. He said the slow count of mail ballots in California should cast doubt on the election, an election result, of course, that he doesn't like. He doesn't have any evidence. He's putting it out there. He said that the majority is in favor of a strict ID law cracking down on mail-in ballots. He keeps focusing on the mail-in ballots. He says he's going to crack down on them. He says it'll guarantee the midterms, he told them, warning that failure would bring, quote, big trouble. Privately, according to one senior advisor, he has pressed aides to find ways to stop them from stealing it from us. Don't assume that November will be free and fair elections. Trump has said he will disrupt them. He said he will attack them. Steve Bannon said that they might use ICE against them. Watch this space and stay vigilant. All right, because it's Tuesday, that means it's also primary day. 4 states are voting today, and I want to break down what you won't hear in the mainstream media. You won't hear on most of the cable news or anywhere else. But today is a primary, and in most of these races, it's already over. And independents don't even get a vote. Today is Maine, Nevada, South Carolina, and North Dakota. They all have primaries today. And it's another day of screwing independent veterans, independent voters, and more broadly, our democracy. By November, almost none of these congressional seats will still be in play. So this is how our country continues to elect a super partisan, deeply divided, and increasingly extreme House of Representatives without real and open elections that respect the voices of independents equally. Now, let's talk about a closed primary. Nevada's primary is closed, and it disenfranchises 900,000 independents and non-party voters. And that's about 450,000 independent veterans. They will watch as partisans, billionaires, and party bosses pick their leaders. Now, there will be open party primaries in Maine, South Carolina, and North Dakota. They allow independents to participate. This is Maine's second election cycle with open primaries. That gives about 270,000 independents the right to vote, and maybe 100,000 or so veterans. But they're still run by the parties. This is different from what we saw in California last week, and there is a better way. I've been advocating for it. Independent Veterans America has been advocating for it. Open primaries and so many others have been advocating for it because there's a difference between an open primary and an all-candidate primary. There's a big difference between a truly open all-candidate primary, like we saw in California, and an open party primary, which is New Mexico, Maine, and et cetera. Now, New Mexico and Maine are better than closed primaries because at least independents can vote. But the ideal system is California, Alaska, Washington, where everyone runs on the same ballot and everyone is eligible to vote for any candidate. It's a system that respects independence and gives us an equal impact in what are publicly funded elections. Remember, the parties are private. They are deciding who can and can't vote in a primary that's funded by the public, uses public election workers, uses public schools. Now, you can go to the Independent Veterans of America website for more. I'll link to it. We have a new, the primary problem section there. Now, of course, controversial veteran Graham Plattner running in the Democratic primary in Maine will be the big story today. And he's a great example of the type of partisan candidate who might do well in a low turnout primary, but will struggle to win a competitive general election where independents will be the difference, especially in Maine, in a state where independents have voted for folks like Senator Angus King, the Maine independent senator. Now, Republicans saw this in 2022 when pretty bad candidates like Herschel Walker and Dr. Oz and Blake Masters won the GOP primary, but lost competitive Senate seats to Democrats, where independents and moderates can vote. Now, Democrats and Republicans may not care about an equal vote for independents, but they should. But if they want more and better competitive nominees, they should support an open primary system. In Maine's case, an open all-candidate primary. Now, it also helps to pick candidates that don't have a Nazi tattoo. But all-candidate open primaries are better for independents but for Republicans and Democrats too, because they treat every voter equally. And that's better for all voters. And that's supposed to be what democracy is all about. That's why I will keep fighting for it on this primary day and every primary day to come. I encourage you to support open primaries, Veterans for All Voters, Unite America, and of course, Independent Veterans America. We're going to keep fighting until our democracy finally respects every American, including those of us who put our lives on the line to defend it. We got to keep moving forward because the Republicans are lost. The Democrats are lost. They are the spoilers, and we are the future. We're not just moving the needle, we are the needle. Stay vigilant.
Stay vigilant. Stay vigilant.
All right. Real quick on sports. Last night, the Knicks did lose, but the politics around the game last night and around the games to come may be just getting started because everybody has an opinion about crime in New York. And after the game last night where the Knicks lost a close one, 115 to 111, there were multiple videos surfacing of attacks on Spurs fans in the streets. ABC News reported that at least 21 people were arrested in various incidents involving fans. Now, let me put this out first of all. Nobody should attack anybody on the street. No violence, especially against Spurs fans. People can get very emotional, and attacking or even intimidating or screaming at people who are here to just watch a sporting event is out of line. But here's what's also out of line. All these people who are going to weaponize these isolated incidents to cast aspersions upon this great city that is generally safe. It has problems. We have issues. We have divisions. Mamdani may or may not be able to deal with the homeless problem and the emotionally disturbed people and the violence that does exist in our subways and other places. But hearing from politicians from Texas about how New York cops should act is going to be a space to watch. And it's also just plain unacceptable. New York City is working to improve itself. And I'm not going to allow partisans, especially from the right or the left, to make some kind of crazy example out of a couple of dudes fighting in the streets, because hundreds of thousands and millions of people in this city are respectful, are courteous, are welcoming. We have millions of people from all over the world that come to this city all the time. Donald Trump came to this city yesterday. We've had Republican and Democratic conventions here. We've had all kinds of people come here. They come to the UN all the time. And most New Yorkers are respectful, are honorable, and good fans. So watch this space, folks. But it's another example of how almost everything in our politics will be weaponized, especially by the partisans. All right, what not yet has been weaponized, what we will see is the Stanley Cup final. Tonight, there will be another game. This is maybe below the radar because Trump hasn't visited yet, but the Golden Knights are hosting the Hurricanes. Vegas leads 2-1. This is turning out to be a great Stanley Cup finals. No word yet on whether or not Trump will be there. You can bet on that and much more on the Kalshi market, but we will continue to watch this. We will continue to stay vigilant.
Hi, I'm Andrew Yang. Let's talk about something I know you'll love, math, because the numbers aren't adding up. Let me break it down. The average monthly phone bill is over $80 a month, and most of that bill is for data. But here's the thing, the average person doesn't even use 60% of that data. That means you are massively overpaying for data you do not need. That's the data tax.
The data tax.
What if your phone plan actually paid you to use it less? We said enough with the data tax, so we built Noble, a mobile carrier that finally works for you. Our simple unlimited plan, $50 a month. No hidden fees, no games, just pay for what you need. And here's the kicker, when you use less data, you get money back.
Oh, yeah.
Noble doesn't just lower your bill, it flips the whole model. Finally, a phone plan that rewards you for living your life, not scrolling through it. Because life happens out there in the real world, not in your feed.
All right, finally, I want to give you something good.
Something good, oh, something sweet. Feel the fire.
America 250 is coming up. It is the celebration of our 250th birthday of America. But it's kind of gotten contaminated by Trump. He's all over it with his crazy Kid Rock concerts and all this other shit. But America 250 is already starting, and some of it's going to be really good. A lot of it is going to be really good. And here in New York City today, we had an example. France's famed and awesome Patois de France performed a ceremonial flyover all across New York State and down into Manhattan and New York Harbor in honor of America 250. They're like France's Blue Angels. And I was there to see it. It was unifying. It was inspiring. It was really, really cool to see. And I have this quick clip of it for those of you who didn't see it on my Instagram post. Please check that out. All right, guys. We are outside the Statue of Liberty. Here they come. America 250 is kicking off the salute from France. Check this out. They came down from Stewart Airport, which is up north of the city, and they just made their way all the way down the Hudson.
Do you think that they're coming back?
I think they'll probably do a loop. Woo! All right, it was cool to see French fighters putting the colors over America. We're going to see so many folks from different countries coming to America to salute America. There's a Portuguese tall ship that's already come through. We're going to have military aircraft and all kinds of cool stuff happening, not just in New York, but around the country. It will be a chance to unify. It will be a chance to celebrate this great and beautiful country that we all love and will fight to defend. And it is a reason to celebrate. It is a reason to focus on something good. And all summer long, it'll be a reason to stay vigilant. All right, we got a lot more coming up in the days ahead. Admiral Stavridis has to push. We will talk to him in a couple of weeks, but we do have other great guests coming up. I will continue to bring you independent voices in our Meet the Independent Candidate series. Go to our YouTube page, please, if you haven't already. Be sure to check that out. Hit subscribe. Leave us a comment. Let me know who you want me to talk to. You can go to our website and get merchandise ahead of Father's Day. You can sign up for the Morning Independent. Check out Kalshi and Noble Mobile. Big thanks to both of them who've stepped up to sponsor independent Americans. And of course, to our Patreon community, our vigilant, very vigilant, and most vigilant, who help keep this show going. You can throw us a couple bucks and help keep this going, because America's divided. But here at Independent Americans, we are working to change that, to add light, to contrast the heat. You know the deal, especially around America 250. We're not going to let Trump jinx all of it. If you're now among the 45% of Americans who are independent, this is your show. More and more of you are going to be independent after the primaries today in 4 states and the primaries in the days to come. But our independent movement is hope for the future. Country over party, people over politics, light over heat. Busting up the status quo and fueling a new movement, bringing hope that is the oxygen of our democracy. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it far and wide. Invite others to declare their independence. I will help you stay ahead of what's happening, not just what's happening now, but let you know what's happening next, especially around politics, national security, and the independent movement. So stay vigilant, my friends. Remember, eternal vigilance is always the price of freedom. No, you're not alone in your vigilance. We're all vigilant. We're all in this together. I'm your host, Paul Rieckhoff. Thank you for tuning in to Independent Americans. I will be back tomorrow with a brand new episode. Happy Tuesday. Let's go, Knicks. Thank you, France. Vive la France. God bless America. And stay vigilant, America. Stay vigilant.
Archipelago, he tells me the left and right are dreams for those without a clue. And when you wake, it's time to grow. And it's not cool to believe in school, but if I can say one thing, I've seen the children of the revolution and the good trouble they can bring. He says the red and blue identity, independent is an attitude. An island in the sea of rhetoric and archipelago, he tells me the left and right are dreams for those without a clue. And when you wait, it's time to grow.
Powered by Righteous Media.